Salute! Hey man, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? It's All Jason MMA here, aka Alex. And first and foremost, lads, as you can see on the screen, the main event we got Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley taking place this weekend at UFC 292, along with another title fight. Boys, this is an absolutely stacked card, an underrated card in my opinion. And I'm just gonna be predicting the fights today. But before we get into that, man, the first thing I want to do is thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for 100 subscribers, bro. I wanted to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year. I think I started doing this MMA shit in July, and we haven't even made it to September yet, and we got 100 subscribers. So thank you, boys, so much. I appreciate it, man. But hey, you already know I'm one of the best fight predictors on YouTube, man. I went 9-4 last week. I would have went fucking 10-3 if I didn't pick that Mike Breeden pick, which was a joke. But hey, man, without further ado, let's just get into my predictions. Alright, boys, let's get into the picks, man. Fucking hell. We got two women's fights starting the main card. Well, not the main card, but the card in general. I'm super excited for these fights, low key. These are banger fights for women fights. We got Marina Moroz taking on Corrine Silva and Andrea Lee versus Natalia Silva. So let's start with the first fight, obviously. These two have fought each other in the past, alright, boys? In 2014, I believe Marina Moroz, Corrine Silva have fought each other. Marina Moroz won with an armbar, apparently. So I'm pretty sure Corrine Silva is 10 times the fighter she once was, and she's an absolute monster. If you give her your ligaments, she's gonna break your shit. So she's pretty scary. So I'm gonna pick her to beat Marina Moroz. The next women's fight on the bout, guys, we're gonna be talking about Andrea Lee versus Natalia Silva. Bro, I'm gonna have to go with Natalia Silva. Everybody knows why I'm picking her. This chick is just absolutely phenomenal, man. I don't even know how to explain it. She's a ninja. She's got, spinning back kicks. She's very explosive. Her striking is crazy. She's very athletic for a woman, which is very good to see. And she's been racking up some finishes in the UFC, which I've been very impressed with. So she looks like she's got a lot of talent. And yeah, man, I'm gonna have to go with her. Andrea Lee is good. She has a couple good wins on her resume, but you know, you just can't make it close with Macy Barber, because they're gonna rob you. But yeah, I like Andrea Lee, but she's very hit and miss, and I think with Natalia Silva, she's gonna get the job done. I think she's gonna get a very dominant win, and we're gonna see the future of women's MMA with Natalia. All right, boys. Now we got a classic middleweight scrap. You already know what this is gonna be. Another absolutely vintage performance by the legendary GM3 Jeremy Mearshart. I don't know how this guy keeps getting it done. You know what I'm saying? This guy is the type of fighter that wins any fight he's supposed to lose, against all these prospects, and then any fight he's supposed to win, he just fumbles. Anyways, that's why we love our boy. But he's taking on 9-1 Andre Petroski. Petroski's a very dominant grappler. He's got good striking, but I feel like he compensates his striking with his wrestling. And he's a pretty smart fighter. He got rid of Nick Maximov. He basically killed him with an anaconda choke, and he's slick. And I think he's actually a prospect to look out for in the middleweight division. Petrosky he could be a fraud, but hey, man, I don't trust Jeremy Mearshart to get it done. But if I get this pick wrong, I'm gonna laugh my butt off. I don't know what to say, man. I trust in Andre Petrosky to get the job done. I think he's one more rounded than Jeremy Mearshart, and I think he has more dog than Jeremy. I got some news for you guys. I got some news for you. So both of these guys, Brad Katona and Cody Gibson, have both participated in The Ultimate Fighter Season 31 with Conor McGregor and obviously Michael Chandler coaching. These two boys have made it to the finale in the bantamweight division. Brad Katona has actually previously won The Ultimate Fighter before, and Cody Gibson he's fought Aljamain Sterling. He's fought a lot of good guys, and he's racked up a lot of experience. So if I'm gonna predict this fight, I'm gonna go with Brad Katona, guys. The one thing I want to pick, well, the one reason I want to go with Brad Katona is because Cody Gibson he's 35, man. He's 36, and at bantamweight, you can't afford to be that old, man. You know what I mean? And he looks really good on the show. Obviously, he got that flying knee KO. I didn't watch the show too much. Call me a casual, but man, I just don't trust him to get the job done. I think Brad Katona is skilled enough. I think he's smart enough. I think he's got a great fight IQ, and he's got one hell of a chin. No, I don't think he beat Timur Valiev on the Ultimate Fighter, but it doesn't matter because he's here now. And all right, boys, moving on in the lightweight division, we have Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holloway. I'm gonna have to go with Kurt Holloway here, guys. I think the finishing potential between these two, I think Kurt Holloway has a better advantage. He obviously had that dogfight against Jason Knight, finished him in the second round, and I think Austin Hubbard's tricky to finish. He's really tough to finish. I think he's only been finished twice in his career. But he just has this weird grinding skill set, to get you out of there, but it's a really slow pace. So I feel like Kurt Holloway can put the pressure on. He can do most of the damage. I feel like he can control at least 2 rounds of this fight, and I'm confident to pick him as an underdog. I just Austin Hobart hasn't really impressed me in his career. Hasn't really shown me much, and he's just very basic, to say the least. So is Kurt, but I think Kurt's made improvements, and I'm just excited to see this fight in general. So I'm gonna rock with Kurt Holloway by a split decision. Gregory Rodriguez versus Dennis Tululin. So I'm actually gonna pick another underdog here, guys. I'm gonna pick Dennis Tululin. The 10-7 Dennis Tululin. Not the best, choice, but I actually do trust him to get the job done. I like Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. He's super tough. He's hard to finish, but he has been knocked out a couple times. He got knocked out on the Contender Series by some random dude, and he got knocked out in his last fight against a guy who was making his debut. And I don't think his chin is actually that bad, but I think Dennis Tululin is a good enough striker to beat him on the feet and maybe catch him. The only way that Dennis Tululin loses this fight is if Gregory Rodriguez takes it to the ground. So that's all I'm going to say. I think Dennis Tululin can, piece him apart on the feet. I think Dennis Tululin he's also tough, you know what I mean? He's not going to just go down easy, and I think it's going to be a war. But I'm actually going to pick Dennis Tululin. Give me the plus 390 underdog. Alright, boys, so to start things off on the main card, we got two OGs of the game. We got old man Chris Wyman versus Brad Journeyman Tavares. In all seriousness, boys, I'm actually excited for this fight. I'm just happy to see two OGs going at it. They're going to be opening up the main card, which is always a good thing. But as far as my prediction for this fight, I'm going to have to go with Brad Tavares, man. I really like Brad Tavares' chances in this fight. I like Chris Wyman, but we all know that he's the guy who's pardon me, his last 6 out of 8 fights, all by KO too, which is not a good look. Chris Wyman, in my opinion, is a great fighter. That's why he was a former champion in the UFC, knocking out Silva. But his best days are far behind him. You know what I mean? He's taken a lot of damage. That beating, man, that vicious beating that Luke Rockhold put on him was just nasty, man. Super nasty. And yeah, although Chris Wyman is a great wrestler, I think Brad Tavares, he's going to set a really high pace, and I think he's going to have the smarter fight IQ. You know what I mean? I think whenever it comes to grappling, we all know that Brad Tavares has solid takedown defense, some of the best at middleweight. So I think it's going to be a really even fight, and I'm trusting Brad Tavares to edge it out. But I'm looking forward to it. I don't think the odds should be that wide, with Chris Wyman being such a big underdog. But I'm definitely going to trust Brad Tavares. Alright, boys, moving on to the second fight on the main card. We're going back to the bantamweight division. We have Marlon Chito Rivera versus Pedro Munoz. This is going to be a potential fight of the night, boys. I see this being a really exciting scrap. Obviously, both men like to swing it out and bang, but an interesting thing about both of these guys in their careers is neither man has been finished. They're super hard to submit. Obviously, neither man has been finished, like I said, and they both have granite chins. So a lot of people are talking about Pedro Munoz being a nice cheeky underdog. Obviously, he won some money for people against Chris Gutierrez in his last fight. Derailed the high train of Gutierrez, but I think coming in as a favorite, I think Chito Vera is going to actually do his thing. I feel like in a 3 round fight, I feel like he's going to be able to push the pace a lot more than in a 5 round fight against guys like Corey Sandhagen. Purely just because I feel like Chito Vera is the type of fighter who can lose the first round to come back and win the first two. And I feel like in this matchup, I understand that Pedro is super underrated, but he tends to get hit a lot. You know what I mean? I feel like Pedro Munoz gets hit a lot. He has a granite chin, so he kind of relies on it, and he doesn't move his feet too much. And Marlon Chito Vera, being one of the biggest, punches at 135, in my opinion, he knocked out Dominic Cruz with that head kick. He did all sorts of nasty things with Rob Font. He has KO power. But the point that I want to make is I feel like the judges in this matchup are probably specifically going to be looking at, output and whoever lands and whoever's the aggressor. And I feel like, as much as Pedro Munoz would be an aggressor in this matchup, I think Chito Vera will land the cleaner shots, the way harder shots, and I think he's going to do enough to sway a 2-1, scorecard because I wanted to pick Pedro Munoz for a while here, but I feel like Cheeto Vera is just really hungry, man. He's still working super hard. And even, boys, think about it. Even if he loses this fight, if everybody thinks it's a robbery, Pedro wins, 2-1, blah, 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 they're still going to give it to Cheeto Vera because what if Sean O'Malley wins the title, against Aljamain Sterling? That sets up a fight to run Marlon Cheeto Vera and, Sugar Sean O'Malley for a rematch, bro, in December. It's pretty obvious. So the judges might be on Cheeto Vera's side, which is why I'm going to be picking him to, find those bigger shots. And as much as I love to pick Pedro as an underdog, man, I got faith in Cheeto Vera to get it done. He's hungry, man. All right, boys. Moving up once again in the bantamweight division, we have Mario Batista versus Damon Blackshear. Obviously, Damon Blackshear filling on short notice. Man, it was only last week, not even 7 days ago, where he got a twisted submission win, the third person to do it in UFC history, which is super, super rare. Obviously, Cody Garbrandt was supposed to fight Mario Batista, but he pulled out, obviously like a week ago or a couple of days ago even, and Damon Blackshear has offered to step in, but I don't think the result's going to change. So I'm going to be very, very confident in Mario Batista getting the job done. I think this kid is legit. There's no reason for me to call him a kid, but I think he's legit, dude. You know what I mean? His only losses are to Corey Sandhagen and Trevin Jones, which is a fluke loss. Okay, we're just going to put that out there. But I think he's very skilled. He's on a four-fight winning streak. His last three wins are all finishes. And as much as I like Damon Blackshear winning this fight, I feel like the turnaround is too much for him, bro. Like the weight cut, I think, it's kind of rough for him to get to 135. And even if he looks good in this fight, I just think Mario Batista is going to look a bit better. You know what I mean? Obviously, Damon Blackshear, most of his wins are by submission. But I think Mario Batista has proven that he's pretty good on the ground. He can defend really well against anyone. He could beat anyone on the ground, in my opinion. And I feel like he's at that point in his career where he's doing good things. I don't think Damon Blackshear is going to lose any stock taking this loss, but I just think, it's Mario Batista's time, and he's going to prove to the people that he's legit, man. He hasn't been winning all these fights in the UFC for no reason. I like Damon Blackshear, like I said, but losing to Chris Matinho back in the day, yes, the guy that got his head whooped in, with the grounded shin by Sean O'Malley, he lost to him back in the day, and although a twisted submission is very impressive, it was against, a guy making his debut in the UFC. Plus, he was getting lit up on the feet before he got the takedown. So, I'm going to trust Mario Batista to get the job done. Obviously, he's coming in as a favorite, so a lot of people are probably going to trust Damon Blackshear and put money on him as the underdog, but I think Batista will get the job done, man. I'm confident in him getting the job done. I'll probably say a second round submission. We have made it to the welterweight division. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary. Now, I know what you're all thinking. This is the wrong Neil. Okay, we were supposed to get Jeff Neal. I personally think Jeff Neal would have knocked Ian Gary out if they fought. Who knows? But hey, obviously Neil Magny stepping up on short notice. I think he, had a week's notice to take this fight, and I really respect him for stepping up. But as much as all the homies like Neil Magny, how long he's been in the UFC, he has 20 wins in the UFC, all that good stuff. I just think Ian Gary is the future. I don't want to say I'm on Ian Gary's hype train, but that last performance from Daniel Rodriguez was very, very impressive. And the one thing that I like about Ian Gary is ever since his first fight in the UFC, he is one of the fighters that struck me who's been able to make tremendous improvements in his career. He looks really sharp. He looks like he's improving so much every single fight. Like I said, we saw that amazing performance against Daniel Rodriguez, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of buying on the hype. I really like this guy. I just feel like I said, improvement is a big thing from a fighter, and he has all the tools, man. He's 26 years old. You know what I mean? He's fucking huge for the weight class, which I didn't realize. He's a bit like 6'3". He's a big fella, man. And I just think he's very diverse on the feet. He's got head kicks, really vicious body kicks. I feel like Neil Magny has that soy, skinny, vegan body. He's not vegan, but you get the point. And I think Ian Gary's going to chop at his body and just, throw nasty leg kicks, and eventually, boom, he's going to throw a massive head kick. I do think Magny could frustrate him possibly, with grappling and clinching, but I just feel like Ian is way too big for him, especially being 6'3". So I'm buying in on the hype. Ian Gary is a massive favorite. I think he's going to get this done by KO in the first two rounds, or it could be a Neil Magny split decision win, eh? We don't know. In the co-main event, boys, we got Wei Li Zhang versus Amanda Lemos. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know why Amanda Lemos is getting a title shot. I feel like she really doesn't deserve a title shot. She beat the Karate Hottie and like Marino Rodriguez in an early stoppage like fight. But yeah, I just don't know why she's being given a title shot. Obviously, the strawweight division needs new blood, and you already know who I'm gonna pick in this matchup. The monster in Wei Li Zhang, this little Chinese woman murderer. Don't forget, lads, she picked up Francis Ngannou, okay? And that's all you need to know. That's why I'm picking her to win. But in all seriousness, guys, we have to discuss this real quick. Amanda Lemos lost her fight against Angela Hill, okay? I remember watching that fight and just thinking, what the hell is going on? You're supposed to be this big upcoming star from Brazil to win the title in a division like this, and you're like having a really close fight with fucking Angela Hill, like a 13-11 woman in the UFC. But anyways, she lost that fight. She won on the judges' scorecards, obviously, but that was a really bad look for me. And she got subbed by Jessica Andrade, which is so rare. If you're getting subbed by Jessica Andrade, who's known for knocking people out, then That's embarrassing. And there's not many factors for me to pick her in this matchup. The only thing that I know she would do is maybe look okay on the ground, you know what I mean, in some scrambles against Wei Li Zhang. But primarily, she's gonna swing her hands like, she's just gonna swing her hands, bro. Think she's gonna fucking tag Wei Li, and Wei Li's just gonna kick her head off, or just drench her in the body with body kicks. I think it's gonna be a tactical breakdown from Wei Li Zhang, and we're gonna witness a masterclass. I'm really excited for this matchup, guys. I feel like this is a really underrated fight, but I'm gonna have to go with Wei Li Zhang. Okay, she picked up Ngannou. She's scary. She's super well rounded, and she is the woman of women's MMA, in my opinion. So there's no way, and there's not many factors for me to pick her in this matchup. The only thing that I know she would do is maybe look okay on the ground, you know what I mean, in some scrambles against Wei Li Zhang. But primarily, she's gonna swing her hands like, she's just gonna swing her hands, bro. Think she's gonna fucking tag Wei Li, and Wei Li's just gonna kick her head off, or just drench her in the body with body kicks. I think it's gonna be a tactical breakdown from Wei Li Zhang, and we're gonna witness a masterclass. I'm really excited for this matchup, guys. I feel like this is a really underrated fight, but I'm gonna have to go with Wei Li Zhang. Okay, she picked up Ngannou. She's scary. She's super well rounded, and she is the woman of women's MMA, in my opinion. So there's no way that Lemos wins, especially fucking losing to Angela Hill. Boys, we have finally made it to the main event. First of all, I want to say thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. We're only going to grow from here. And yeah, man, I appreciate anyone that watches my content. Once again, thank you guys so much. Aljamain Sterling taking on the challenger Sugar Sean O'Malley. Obviously, a lot of people are picking Aljamain Sterling. Everybody's getting on the hype at Aljo nowadays. Obviously, he's defended the belt more than 3 times, I believe. I think it's only been 3 times, but that's the most consecutive, title defenses any bantamweight has ever done. So we're considering him as the bantamweight GOAT, at this time in his career, unfortunately. But hey, man, we got Sugar Sean O'Malley on the other side, and a absolutely sensational striker. This guy has, elite striking in my opinion. I feel like his ground game is low key underrated. His wrestling is very suspect. Obviously, we saw against Peter Yan, he was cheating multiple times. Fence grabbing, hooking the gloves of Peter Yan. Just cheating so much in that fight, which I couldn't really respect. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think that Sean O'Malley won that fight, but there is an argument for him that he could have won. You know what I mean? He busted up Peter Yan's face, and all I have to say is in that matchup, with Piotr Jan, everybody thought he was going to get fucking destroyed. Come on, we all know this. Piotr Jan was that guy at the time. He was supposed to be an absolute Chad. The fucking champion for a long time. Obviously, he lost to Sterling in the second fight, but yeah, man, you can't tell me that Sean O'Malley didn't prove himself in that fight, and I think he's going to shock the world in this matchup, dude. I think obviously it's not the best matchup for him. I think Sean O'Malley, he wanted Henry Cejudo obviously instead of Aljamain Sterling, but I'm not going to sleep on Sean O'Malley. I think, within 2 rounds, if this doesn't go longer than 2 rounds, I think that Sean O'Malley will crush Aljamain Sterling and knock him out. I just feel like Sean O'Malley, even when it comes to wrestling, I feel like when it comes to scrambling, his Granby rolls will be there. I think when he gets to the cage, though, I think Sean O'Malley is going to be fucked. But I got Sean O'Malley knocking Aljamain Sterling out. We saw what happened with Marlon Moraes, Aljamain Sterling. Listen, I know that was many years ago, but Moraes made Aljo do the dab, and I honestly think Sean O'Malley is going to do the same. And if Sean O'Malley can control the distance, man, control that range, throw a lot of nasty body kicks at Aljo, really get him overreacting to certain feints, I think he could, boom, catch him on the chin, and we have a new champion. So I'm going to take the trust in picking Sean O'Malley to win. I understand that Aljamain Sterling is an absolute backpacking grappling machine. He took down Aljamain Sterling 4 times. Aljamain Sterling, are you fucking serious, dude? My bad, boys. He took down Henry Cejudo 4 times, which is pretty crazy. Obviously Henry Cejudo being a Olympic gold medal wrestler, but I'm going to trust in Sean O'Malley, boys. And my last reason to pick Sean O'Malley is because this freaking clown, bro, this fucking guy picked Aljamain Sterling to win, and we all know what happens with Lucas Tracy's main event picks, all right? So I got a lot of faith in Sean O'Malley. Like I said, boys, he's the better striker. I feel like his grappling in general is super underrated. I feel like he's going to be able to work his way out of certain scrambles. And Aljo is just fucking ass on the feet, dude. Henry Cejudo was having his way on the feet at times. And imagine the length and the size of Sean O'Malley, dude, with KO power as well. I reckon he's going to put that boy to sleep. So I'm going to look like a massive fool, obviously, if I get this pick wrong. But I'm super confident in Sean O'Malley. I think he's going to shock the world. Even if he doesn't defend the belt many times, I think, he's gonna send Aljo up to 145 low key. And that back-to-back weight cut for Aljamain Sterling, I heard he had some injuries after the Henry Cejudo fight, and he wanted to go get them checked out. He wanted to heal up, but the UFC have pushed him into this time zone. And I just think it's Sean O'Malley's time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's had a long time to prepare for this fight. Don't forget, guys, this guy hasn't fucking fought since last October, so we know he's been healing up, doing all that good stuff. And yeah, I think it's Sean O'Malley's time, bro. He's warmed up so much. He's got so much time to prepare for this fight. I think he's had so much time to prepare for the grappling. Fucking prepare for the grappling of Aljamain Sterling. And yeah, the only way Sterling wins this fight is if he can grapple. If he can get Sean O'Malley against the cage, then I think it's over. But I'm picking Sean by second round KO.